Hello and welcome of course to another car review in GT7, and this is actually a car which of course a few days ago I put out a tune tutorial, a full build and a little bit of a strategy guide for one of the 8 endurance missions. In particular the one on Kyoto where you've got to get a 550 point street car to win the event. This one can enter, which is crazy because of course a Radical, although technically a road car, is so close to a race car that it's kind of insane to use it in road going races, and that's the whole point. That's why they're so good. It's very much like a road going version, a real life version of essentially a Red Bull Junior. Now, speaking of the Red Bull Junior, I'm glad that this car has a more reasonable point level in this game compared to like Gran Turismo 6. I mentioned way back then that, in my opinion, the point level on the Red Bull Junior was always insane. It was well over 700, which is just stupid. It had like a higher level than a Chaparral 2J, which, I mean, I don't think I need to even explain why that's stupid, but of course it doesn't stand a chance, put simply at that level. In this game, stock, this is a 521, technically a fraction under 522 point vehicle. That is really low given how quick a Radical is. Now of course it's super small, super lightweight, it's only 775 kilos, but the power is not that high. Just under 240 horsepower is of course hot hatch territory, and that is the crucial thing. That's why the points are not that high, because yes, it is extremely quick through corners, but on straights, it's just kind of okay. There's nothing particularly special about the Radical straight line speed, and that's the great thing about it, because they factored that in. That's great, because it means in those previous games, maybe even as recently as the last game, it wouldn't have been that useful. I mean, it could have been, but probably not. Whereas now in this game, this almost feels, not quite, but go with me here, almost feels like a stand-in for the light car company Rocket back in Gran Turismo 6. It's not quite that OP, because that was a really OP vehicle, but in this game, the mono definitely isn't a stand-in. It's great and it's fast, but it's not good enough to be a stand-in for that, whereas this, because the points are so low in comparison to how competitive it is at that level, that's to me what reminds me of the Rocket in particular. Now, speaking to the comparison between this and a mono or a Rocket, I put simply prefer this over both of them. It's not as quick, it's not as OP, but it's a pleasure to work with. Put simply, the Radical is a very forgiving little car, and it almost feels less like a race car and more like the epitome of like the ultimate go-kart. And you might think, well, surely that's what all of these small open wheel track day cars feel like, and to some degree you'd be right, but some definitely have more of a playful vibe than others, and it's almost like some take themselves a little bit too seriously, almost. To me, the mono kind of feels like that. It feels like it's almost trying to be a supercar instead of just sticking to being this small lightweight track day car. The Radical knows what it is, it sticks to what it is, and it does it really well. The fact that the points are so low are by far the best thing about it, and then you can build from that. So if you want it to have more power, then sure, you can tune it to 300 and above. But if you want to use it in the lower levels, which is what I would recommend it for, well, it's going to serve you extremely well, especially given it's not all that expensive. This one is 126,000 credits, and you can buy it straight from the Radical dealership in the European section. So it's not like you have to win it, you don't have to get it from some mission or license, you don't have to buy it from a used dealer or a specialised dealer of any kind. You can just jump in, you can earn that kind of money in no time in Gran Turismo, and you've got yourself a fantastic lower level road car. Put some different tyres on it, adjust the power to different levels, and you can get it in all kinds of events. Of course, they'd have to be mid-engine events, but that's kind of obvious anyway. Ultimately, there's really not that much else to say about the Radical in my opinion. It's similar to when I spoke about the Alfa Romeo 8C. It's just a really good car, and this one is as well. Nothing mind-blowing, nothing groundbreaking, but a fantastic addition to Gran Turismo. It's the first time we've ever had Radical in Gran Turismo, in fact, and I think it's a pretty great debut. Not the fastest thing they've ever made, but a hell of a debut and a really, really useful car. So ultimately, that's it for this review. Of course, you can check out more that I've already done here on the channel, and of course, stick around for more in future. But until next time, I'll see you then, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.